Hey guys, welcome back to Q&A, the Librarian Way. I'm Julia from Stylish and the Stacks.
And I am Emily from the Gnoming Librarian.
And Emily loves me today.
Oh, yes.
She loves me.
I get to do the Ice Bucket Challenge today.
She does, because I challenged her to. You should put in a clip right now of me being like, for my good friend Emily. Yeah, I knew you would do it. I knew you were probably going to do it at some point anyway, because teens just tend to get us involved in things.
I'm happy to do it. It's while I feel like it is towards the end of the trend to bring, any of the teens that have friended me on Facebook are going to see it and know that, we support different causes.
And it has brought ALS up, to light a little bit for me. Like, there is someone from my hometown who is only in his 30s struggling with it, and it does put it in perspective for you.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah, it raised awareness.
And I looked up today because I kind of wondered, well, how much money has that brought in? And they're saying at this time last year they had raised like $1 million, and they're up to over $40 million.
That's crazy.
So hey, whoever thought of it, good job.
Exactly.
The power of social media, I tell you.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I had an interesting conversation in the hallway a couple of days ago here at school with a teacher, and she was saying that about 10 years ago she never would have seen a librarian in a classroom, and she said the role of libraries must really be changing. And so it just kind of got me thinking about that, like how are our jobs different than they were when we started? This is my 7th year. You've been at the public library about 8, is that right?
7.
7? Okay.
7.5,
okay.
Yeah.
So our jobs are different than when we first started. The role is definitely changing, and so we thought we would just talk about that, and then things that we didn't learn in library school, how our jobs were different than what we expected. So
oh, that list is so long. Oh, library school.
Yeah.
Well, what's kind of interesting is that so before I was at the public library, I was in a high school media center. I was with the media aide, and we would sit down every couple months, me and the media specialist, and trying to figure out how we could get into the classroom more, how we could get out there for the teachers to know what we were doing, what we could offer them. How sadly a lot of it was motivated by our jobs are on the line. How much longer are school media specialists, going to be relevant, and how we can make ourselves relevant and put ourselves out there. So it's a lot, and we find that motivation even in the public libraries. So it's sad that some of that change comes about that way, and the innovation, because we have to. We have to start to innovate. We have to start to find that progress in different kinds of successes. So my job, no one ever, they don't tell you in library school that, I wish I had a social services degree. I wish I had a social worker degree. Yeah. Because a lot of times, and I'm finding that more this year than I have ever, that I don't feel equipped to deal with some of those social pressures that are coming into the teen room. And a lot of times it's kids just wanting to share, but how much should I let them share, and what should my reaction be? And I have made friendships with these kids, and where do you draw that line, and how do you comfort a kid when they're upset, and how do you, with the whole conversation about bullying, what's the appropriate way to deal with that so that the party that's doing the bullying understands what they're doing wrong, and the victim gains some confidence and can recognize bullying versus just teasing. It's all these kinds of, and we're seeing more and more kids coming in on the spectrum, and how to integrate them into programming to make sure they're as comfortable as possible and having fun, but how to make it comfortable for everybody else. So it's those little things that they didn't really prepare me for. So I worry a lot because I don't want to step over lines, and I don't want to get the library into trouble. So finding those right words is always really hard. So
I think who your patrons are wasn't really talked about a ton. I think we just assume that everyone that comes to the library is there because they just want to check out a book to read, and that's not necessarily the case. So, and that's even the reality in a school library. You're going to have a particular type of kids that come to you every day that don't want a book necessarily, and they're looking for something else, encouragement or just safety or kind of a sanctuary or whatever. So dealing with some of those instances for sure I wasn't totally prepared for.
I think back when I was in middle school and high school, the media specialist, the librarian never came to the library. To this classroom. I never saw. And we very rarely went to the library. If I stopped in the middle of passing period to grab a book, that was one thing. But I think in my 4 years of high school, the class only went down to the library once, so.
Isn't that sad?
That is
Was it
sad.
for research?
Yes.
Yeah, it was for my senior research paper.
I feel like it was my senior year too.
I think I went for freshman orientation and senior research paper.
I think I was a little intimidated by the library too, because in my school it was set up a little weird. Like you had the first door you went into was this big open area, and then you had to go through another door for the books, and I never knew the process.
Am
one
I allowed
really-
to go in the second room?
So I was
or-
like, you know what?
Yeah.
But I was also working at the public library, so I had access.
You had
to books,
access in
but-
other ways.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think just the physical look of a library has changed. It's definitely more inviting to teens, I think, now. And there is a trend, with maker spaces, with making your library available for hands-on activities, which is definitely different than I think when we were in school. It was mostly for quiet activities or book activities. And not that that's a bad thing. I mean, I think it's just the role is changing. I think when I started here 7 years ago, so much of my job was just being a reference source for teachers. And now I'm kind of a co-teacher. I'm in the classroom a lot. I mean, just us filming this video, we have to squeeze it in like at the end of a period because I'm getting ready to go back into a class next period. So I see teachers reaching out to me a lot more. I feel like I don't have to market nearly as much as I used to. I think teachers are, feeling more comfortable with using me more proactively. So
that when they start to think of that big project they want to try, it's you've made it so that your face is kind of popping into their head, like, ooh, what can Julia do to
exactly,
help? Yeah.
Exactly. And especially with technology too. I mean, we do have a technology department here that, works with everything breaking down, but I get asked a lot about, web tools, Web 2.0, social media kind of sites. So I'm kind of I'm definitely not a specialist by any means, but I feel like that's my area, that people tend to use me for.
And we see the public libraries becoming more and more like a community hub. There are still patrons who, when they walk in, think that we're going to shush and it's going to be quiet, and it's like, no, that's not what we are. We try to make it, accessible to everybody. So if you are studying, we have rooms for that, spaces for that. That tend to be more quiet, but it really is a community hub, reaching outside of the walls about who we bring into the library to do programming, what we do out in the community, making those connections and building those relationships. So it's again, kind of out of necessity, but also because that's our priority. That's where our heart is, and knowing that we are our community. Every stretch of our community, economic level, socioeconomic level, comes in and uses us. So we are a great resource for that. So.
Well, and even like we've started looking more at like the elementary schools, because that is a part of our district, and seeing how we can reach out and help them too. Like we're thinking about having some holiday events here at the high school library that we're going to invite, different elementary students to get to come to. So again, it kind of reinforces the new role of the library as being a community,
and you get them young like that, and that's they'll remember that, and so then they'll remember when they go into middle school, hey, the library, and then when they get to the high school, hey, I've been here before. All of that has an impact, and I think we need to remember that those little moments, people remember those moments, and it only builds. If you want people to come back, you've got to give them a reason to come back. So.
Exactly. And I think we're focused more on that than we ever have been before.
It kind of frustrates me, the conversations about, books are going away and libraries are going to close. Why do we need libraries? And we could have that conversation forever. But for me, it's exciting. Like, I get excited to see where we can go and what opportunities are out there and how we can grow. I mean, in the 7 years I've been there, my teen room now is huge. It's downstairs. It's in this wide open space, and we're doing things with teenagers that we never thought we could possibly do. And all of that was because we just didn't let those naysayers, especially when it comes to teen services, get in our way. It's like, no, these kids are funny and they're passionate, and they might smell a little, but that's okay, I'm used to it now. I don't even notice. So it's, I don't know, I think the world's kind of bright.
Well, and have you seen the stories of like the Ferguson Library in St. Louis, and how it has been a sanctuary, and it has been a place for people to go to collect themselves, and that's totally the role, of being a community. And
if any of you watchers are going to CYPD I guess it would be Monday if you're going today. Sorry we filmed this early. We are collecting craft items to send to Ferguson.
Oh,
So
that's
if
cool.
you have extra craft items in your cabinets, please bring them, and we are going to
Just like things they can use to
yeah,
make
craft
things?
sticks,
Okay.
cotton,
Okay.
poof
Yarn.
balls, glue, yeah, because they are running out. They're running
Yeah.
they're running low because they are becoming that resource.
Yeah.
So please bring those with you today if you see this in time.
Yeah.
Or you can send them,
Yeah. So
bring them to the bring them to
Yeah.
a library and we'll get them.
Yeah,
to them,
seriously,
so.
yeah. Well, yeah, fill us in on what you have to add to this conversation. Leave your comments below. We'd love to read through them and just see what some of your thoughts are about this and how your role has changed over the last couple of years. And we'll be back next week with a new video.
We will.
And-
Look at us 2
Yay.
weeks in a row.
I know.
Did you notice? We
Yeah.
noticed.
We didn't say, wow, it's been so long. when we
It was
started
just
this.
last week.
It was just last week. Awesome. All right.
See you later.
Bye.